questions.
Hi, my name is Rob Edwards. I was the writer of Princess and the Frog, Treasure Planet, Captain America: Brave New World, and now Defiant, the story of Robert Smalls.
That is awesome. You've got a nice long train of work.
I've had some fun.
Yeah. I mean, and it's all different too. So it's
Yes.
very diverse, a wide variety of stuff. So you definitely know what you're doing.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you.
So, what was it like kind of putting all of this together? Because the story is just. It's a great story, by
Yeah.
the way, because I remember I was mentioning that there was this little blip on Twitter, and
Oh,
we were
yeah.
like, what story is this? We've
Right,
never
right.
heard of it. And then it just kind of died.
Yep.
And now we're just seeing the graphic novel. We're working on a movie. So,
Yeah.
how has this all come to fruition and your part with kind of molding this together?
Right, right. Well, that's the thing. It was a meme. You know, it was like somebody had said, "Hey, we've made all these movies about all these other things, and here's this guy who did this and this and this. You know, he stole this ship and disguised himself as a captain, got through all these military checkpoints. You know, surrendered the ship to the Union Navy, became rich." Started what is it, a printing press, a railway, ran for Congress 5 times and won. And, I think the most superhero thing he did was he died of old age because there was a bounty on his head the whole time. And so it starts there. And then the Legion M membership said, like, yes, we should make this as a movie. We took it to Kickstarter, broke records, on Kickstarter. So we knew we were in good shape. If you build it, they will come. And then, and here we are, a little bit later, and we have the graphic novel, which is the response is incredible. It's just we can't keep it on shelves. I think we've sold like 8,000 copies already. We're getting a shipment in of I guess another 20,000 books, which are more or less accounted for already. And so it is. I think we're in the right. I think whoever made the meme, thank you.
Right.
Legion M community, thank you. Kickstarter community, yes, and then Amazon and Barnes and Noble and everybody is really responding to this. Now we go to the next step, and we'll see.
It's just so amazing that you can take this story and it's an important story.
Yes.
But nobody really, we don't have very diverse history
Right.
in America.
Right.
It's usually white,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
So it's obviously important to make these stories, but how important was this specific one to get it off the ground?
Yeah. No, this one, when I consider myself pretty well read, and especially in terms of history, Black history specifically. And when I heard this story, it was a friend of mine, Dave Baxter, was working with Legion M at the time, and he told me the story. First, I couldn't believe I had never heard it. Second, I was truly inspired by it. Third, as I started telling friends of mine, I have a friend who's like 70-year-old white British guy, telling him the story. He says, that's inspiring. So then it becomes, okay, this is a story that needs to be told. It needs to be told in a big way. Fortunately, the guys over at Stranger Comics are are helping us tell a basically movie on paper, and so that is the best part of it. Yes, we do live in a time where Black history is kind of being suppressed. Books are burned just for having Black characters. So, so what better thing to do than to give your kid a comic book, and say like, oh, hey, just if you have some time, you may want to read it, and the kids are eating it up, and so, and it's one that hopefully you read it, you give it to somebody else to read, and then two more. And off you go. But yeah, you have to find new ways to tell these stories now because there are blatant efforts to suppress it. Juneteenth.
Right.
We couldn't celebrate Juneteenth on public ground.
Yeah.
It
It still
gets
baffles me.
it gets a little weird, and so but you can't say like we can't tell these stories. You have to say how can we tell a story? How can we get around?
Right. How can you spin it to get the story out without
Yeah,
all the other crap. Let's
Yeah,
just say
exactly.
it. Yeah, it's.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
and the great thing is too, and I haven't seen anything yet, but I plan on posting things on TikTok and
Nice.
things like that. But the story just needs to get out. People need to know more. And I know you guys are selling these off the shelf, but it's like, what more can we do to grab the attention of youth today?
Yeah.
Because it's not like when I was a kid.
Yeah.
We read a lot of books. You know, we had a little bit more diversity when it came to books. You know, but now it just seems like that's shrinking. So what can we do?
People are buying less and less, fewer and fewer books.
Yeah.
More and more video games and comic books and stuff like that. I think you have to just evolve, evolve and thrive, or stagnate and die, right? That you really have to kind of move with where the audience is. And if the audience wants to read graphic novels, we'll give them a fantastic graphic novel. If they want, we've been talking about action figures and video games and stuff like that.
Okay, because that was going to be my next question about the video game, because I don't know if you've ever seen, some of them do almost like short story video games.
Right.
And I was like, that seems like that would be a great platform to kind of get the video game audience.
Yeah. How much do you learn, like from Assassin's Creed or from Call of Duty, and all that? You learn a lot about the context of these events when you're just in kind of doing your thing, and you're learning. So this is something hopefully people will want to learn about. The Reconstruction period is really full of rich American history, and I think is and I say American history, not Black American history, not slave history or anything like that. It's America, how the country was built, what happened, this little time in history when America tried to get it right. Slavery was over, and now what do we do? And and we, there were Black businessmen, Black lawyers, doctors, millionaires came out of that period, and we don't talk about it, we don't know about it. And the more we know about it, the more we know, yes, we can get it right. Yes, a kid who is, you don't have to be a slave to be inspired by the life of someone who came from the lowest of the low and ascended to Congress and did wonderful things all of his life.
Yeah, we could all learn from it
so.
in some way, shape, or form. So, well, thank you so much for sharing this, and good luck with everything. We can't wait to see it on the big screen. We're just
yes,
awesome.
exactly.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.